Welcome
to
everybody. All
There
right.
you go,
What
man.
happens when you click?
You ask questions?
You fuck everything up.
Yeah, okay. I'm Josh. This is Mrs. and Scott.
Good
Scott?
evening.
Scott's in California. Josh and I are in an undisclosed,
Again, we're in an undisclosed location. Can you say that word?
undisclosed location in Ohio.
Okay. So
What do you drink? Is that 90% ice and 10%? Okay, there you go. It looks like just a block of ice.
Well, it's because the light is like shining on it.
It just, you just don't really like the taste of
You
whiskey,
are.
I think.
Do you need me to be a man?
Yes,
I'm
I need you
actually-
to prove yourself to me. Prove your man.
actually drained down a little bit. I don't think you did anything. Is it just?
Yeah, I didn't see the liquid go down in the bottle, and I just see a bunch of ice in a glass.
There you go.
Poser.
So I was given about 8 minutes to prepare for this one, and I am going
Fake
to
news, CNN. You're CNNing me hard, Josh, because last week you were going to ask us questions, but you weren't on.
And I
so
failed.
Josh and I, or no, not Josh, but who's the other guy that you're sitting next to? Mark. Yeah, Mr. And I actually weren't going to do last names, so Mark, I got to edit all that out now.
Just
Thank you very
realized
fucking much. It's not going to say that and stop saying it because I got to edit the word out every single time. You're just giving me extra work. You're the tax. You're the U.S. government. You're just making me work for free for like the first 2 to 3 months of my year. Mark
Yes.
and I last week riffed because Josh, you weren't there to ask questions. I assumed you had those questions ready and could bring them up this week. You failed us, and you did
Scott,
not
can I
have
just
those
say
ready.
something?
So
Can
please,
I-
by all means,
you look really nice tonight.
stop it. I didn't even shower today. You know, I didn't do my hair. I didn't shave. Look at this, dude. Look at that fucking stubble and shit.
Scott, you're
You know, I'm kind of jealous, Josh. I hit you with the kind of an insult. Now I'm going to hit you with a compliment because I am jealous of your beard. I can't grow a beard like that. It just looks shaggy. I look homeless. It's awful. I wish I could grow one like that.
Scott, you look good without a beard. You look good with like Scott, you're so hot. Third base is going to be called the Scott corner.
I don't know if he knows.
Thank you. I don't get that reference.
I told you. Third base is usually called the hot corner because when the batters come around, they hit right at third baseman. It's you got to move really quick.
Understood.
Let's go back to the beard thing because I'm digging this compliment.
Scott doesn't know much
It
about
looks good, man. I can't. Not everybody can grow that. A lot of people try to grow beards and look like fucking jackasses.
You got to use some lotion and some wax and stuff.
lotion.
It puts the lotion on the skin.
He's never seen that movie. Scott, you're
never
so hot.
seen Silence of the Lambs.
Scott, you're so hot. Little Caesars are going to start calling it Scott and Ready Pizza.
Thank you so much. I don't believe that you have not seen Silence of the Lambs or The Simpsons. I think you're bullshitting me. But anyways, Josh.
Who said they didn't see it? I didn't.
No, Mark has said repeatedly he's never seen Silence of the Lambs or The Simpsons.
I have. Scott, no, you misunderstood me. Josh has never seen it.
Yes, I have.
You have not. You don't like those movies.
Yes, I have.
He's never seen that. He's never seen Saw.
I have never seen Saw.
All right, there we go. You're doing. So Mark, you've spent so much time in politics. You just can't help but just like kind of bullshit, like just as a natural reaction during conversation. I think It's not your fault. It's just you've been around that world so long for decades now that like it's just like I'm going to say a lie and then I'm going to bullshit my way into kind of making it the truth. And you're good at it. I mean, I wish I had that kind of skill. I'd be way more successful in my career. Congratulations.
I don't know why you hurt me, Scott.
That's pretty spot on.
I've never done anything to your people, and you're attacking me. I feel like I'm.
You spent the entire last time we talked, basically accusing the Jews of.
You did. I heard
a whole bunch of stuff. Why didn't we go back to Poland where we belong? So once again, anyways, sorry, man. I'm working on 4 hours of sleep. I'm a little out there, and I've had a couple drinks, so this should be funny. And I didn't tell you guys, but clock's ticking because I took a 10 milligram gummy 15 minutes ago. That shit's gonna kick in, and
All
then
right.
whatever happens, happens. It's in God's hands at that point. Anyway, sorry, Josh.
All right. So I had 8 minutes to prepare. Let's get back to that part.
Okay.
You had several weeks to prepare. Let's go. Okay, but yes.
Yeah. And so I just threw some stuff into AI.
Mhm.
Scott, what would you consider yourself as far as your political ideology? Where do you stand as far as what party do you represent or assume?
Can I
closest
answer
to?
for Scott?
You may not. Go.
I kind of reject the premise because I read that book by the two Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints guys. That's not really relevant to the book, but The Myth of Left and Right. I kind of thought that before, that just the whole left and right thing, it flip-flops so much over
I'm
time
not
that
talking about left or right. I'm
You
your
asked me about
ideology, not your affiliation.
ideology. I think okay. If you want it just like the most broadest terms, I would say I'm kind of a slightly left-leaning libertarian.
Okay, that's
Okay.
where I was heading. Mark,
Got
what
it.
would you consider yourself?
a democratic capitalist.
Shit.
He was just making a democratic socialist joke, I think, isn't he? Or are you being serious?
No,
Is that really what you call yourself?
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe in democratic capitalism. Pure capitalism is obviously, is unregulated capitalism, which, is unacceptable. And
Mhm.
socialism is unacceptable. And communism is unacceptable.
Okay, so
There's entire books, by the way, about democratic capitalism. You should.
I believe you. There's entire books about everything.
okay, so that kind of shoots down my idea, but you see where I'm going with this, though.
I don't. Let's go.
Okay, let me just say, let's say you espouse a conservative ideology.
Okay, let's say that.
And Scott, you espouse a libertarian ideology. So let's talk about those two and how they mix together, how they are adversely working. And
You mean their similarities and their differences?
Yes.
The similarities and differences? Is
yes,
that what you were looking for?
yes. And I got a couple questions. I'm just going to go down a list and we'll see where we go with this.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful.
Okay. So the role of government in preserving traditional values versus individual freedom.
Ask that again.
The role of government in preserving traditional values versus individual freedom. Scott, I'd like to hear a libertarian response, and then
That's a stupid question.
You're fired.
You're just mad at AI. He's always just mad at AI. The government is like God. If it's doing it right, it should be a light touch, right? And you shouldn't really know that it even is having a huge impact. It should just set things up as good as it can and rely on just kind of human beings living their life to implement that, right? So that being said, the government should, I mean, you should have an idea of the right things to do and what right and wrong is, but it should be general and stuff that, stuff that are 80-20, 90-10 issues, right? The government doesn't have, look at how pissed we have Trump because Democrats decided they wanted to be on the wrong side of an 80-20 issue. That's not all of why we have Trump, but that's most of why we have Trump. So if you don't like Trump, that's why.
And it was actually, I think, probably, several 80-20 issues. Yeah.
It's part of it.
Well,
yeah,
there's a great quote, and on to your question, and it's in the Federalist Papers. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary, which is a great quote. The role of government. I believe that, and it sounds corny because it's, I believe government governs best when it governs least. Because I'm
very libertarian of you.
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't even really realize like how little government how small of a role the federal government, the central government had for decades and decades and decades. I mean, all the government departments we have now that people talk about and are they're all relatively new.
The 70s are when a lot of these things came to be, right?
Yeah, of course. So the founders were very smart and said we obviously need a War Department or a Defense Department. We obviously need a State Department to deal with foreign governments. We obviously need a Treasury Department because we're going to have an economy. We obviously need a Justice Department because we need to prosecute criminals and acquit innocent people.
You're missing one. You're missing one. The Office of Child Gender Transition, because we absolutely have to do that.
And I think the other one is the Interior Department. To take care of the public lands, right? So,
BLM, right? Isn't that what they do? Bureau of Land Management and Black Lives Matter. I think could also help with.
Yeah, the Bureau of Land Management is in.
So for a dumb question, you guys went on for a little bit. So I just wanted to say that, throw that out there. Okay, so going up on your laundry list you had right there. One of them is military spending and foreign intervention. So go.
Military spend. So how much should the government spend militarily and on intervention? Well, I'm more and more convinced the older I get and the more people I listen to that seem really smart, that there's a hole, there's a control hole. And if America doesn't take control, someone else will. I never used to believe that, but the older I get, I think that's kind of true. What do you think, Mark?
I've always believed that American military power should only be used when our interests are threatened. Now, that opens up, yes, that does open up a big can of worms. What is considered our interests, right? 40, 50 years ago, when the United States was very dependent on OPEC oil, it was considered a top priority for the national security of the United States was keeping the Straits of Hormuz open, because it could have caused an economic collapse equivalent to the Great Depression if we weren't able to buy oil from the OPEC nations. So, but the United States has a lot of strategic interests around the globe. I think killing Houthis that are firing on American ships I think that's in the interest of the United States. I think that if Iran developed a nuclear weapon or were very, very close to developing a nuclear weapon, as hard as much of an anathema as it is for me to want to go to war anywhere, that's a vital concern to the United States and the world, and I would support taking them out. Not Iran as a country, but I mean their nuclear facilities.
So Mark, Milton Friedman had the paper you wrote, "What's in a Motherfucking Pencil?" I think it was called, right? Nowadays, it's what's in a motherfucking microchip, what's in a motherfucking robot. It's a lot of shit that we need to get to make shit Americans use to make their lives normal, right? Would you say America should use military might at all to protect the interests to get us these materials for those things?
Yes.
That it means we got to be the fucking empire, the way that I see it and the way that people smarter than me have explained it to me. We kind of got to be the empire to make that happen, right? Do we or do we not? Can we do it all through alliances and diplomacy?
Everything has to be taken into context. So in the current global situation, where with as much of a threat as China poses, right? In the current environment, yes, rare earth minerals and everything we would need to for our manufacturing base and for AI and for data centers, etc. Yeah, that's a vital national security concern. Yes.
Get us Greenland. We can get some rare earth minerals there. That'll help a little bit.
I mean, so I don't want anybody to think you're right. Yeah, I don't want anybody to think that I agree with that we need to invade Greenland to do that yet. Proactive measures to obtain rare earth minerals so that we don't have to go to war, so that we never have to go to war is obviously, and I think that's the policy that the United States government is pursuing at the moment. Like
that seems actually.
You can hate Cheeto all you want. You can, me, or anybody, but we need rare earth minerals. And signing deals with the Ukraine and whatever bilateral agreements we end up with Greenland is important. And
yeah, you're absolutely right. And it just sucks that I don't even want to get into how much I hate social media and people yapping and the fucking idea sports of the whole fucking thing. It just because it gets away from people listening to things like what you just said. What you just said was coherent and made a lot of fucking sense, and you did it in like 2 minutes. Right. And I think if a lot of people just soak that in, I don't know, it'd probably be a better online environment. That's just my 2 cents. Josh, do you have an opinion? You're asking these questions, but do you have 2 cents on that?
I said manifest destiny. I don't know if you heard me or not, but
I did not.
Yeah.
So you support killing Native Americans?
He wants
smallpox, murder.
He wants to kill the Eskimos to get the rare earth minerals. This is what he's talking about. Josh Andrew Jackson.
Just who was it? Was it Douglas MacArthur that had like a Native American hat or something that he wore? I'm getting this way wrong. Sorry. Scott, cut this out when you're editing.
That gummy kicking in?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on. So the next one, well, that's interesting. Drug legalization and regulation.
Do you have a more specific question, or you just want to see generally what?
No, I just want to see general. I know libertarianism kind of is let them do whatever they want.
So libertarians had a very big, huge kick in the balls when San Francisco decided to just let everybody do drugs on the street. Turns out the experiment that we ran didn't really work so well. So if we look at places like Portugal's famous, right? Lisbon, right? They pretty much have full drug anti-criminalization. But you can't just do it on the street. I think if we do certain tweaks like that, like, hey, look, you can't be out in the street being a fucking vagabond, doing the fucking zombie shit because you're on Crocodile or some shit, just flowing back and forth. You can't do shit like that, right? In your home, knock yourself the fuck out. I don't think it needs to be more complicated than that. Mark, do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree at all. Or Flocka. Man, I saw a bit.
They did it in San Francisco, but wasn't it in Portland too?
Well, yeah, and
lots of lefty cities,
and more famously Seattle, because the Seattle City Council voted in 2023 to recriminalize drug possession and public drug use
after they.
Yeah, exactly. Because it got so out of hand, right?
Yeah, you just can't have it. Everyone's seen the videos on YouTube of just people filming zombies on the fucking streets of a city in America. It looks so bad. The optics are so awful. We can't have it. You can't have kids walking around that. That's fucking ridiculous. Like I think libertarians got a kick in the balls and just a tweak. But all it takes is a tweak. You can keep your ideals. Just don't be so extreme.
And I just want to say the libertarians didn't pass any of that legislation. That was the progressive.
True. Level. You're 100% correct. But there were libertarians that kind of, there was that kind of group, that kind of mindset.
Libertarians have been saying that for decades, and they've never had any power to do it.
They never will. And they never will.
Right. Well, that may be one of the things that is we can pat ourselves on the back for, those of us that are have a big libertarian streak on, and I really do truly believe that except for the hardcore libertarians, some of the kooks that are that run the Libertarian Party, I don't know a single libertarian that believes that public nudity and public drug use or any of that stuff is acceptable, or public homelessness for that matter. In 10 cities and we live in it. We obviously have to live in a civilized society. I read something the other day. So there's a guy, and I'll think of his name in a minute, who's been working with homeless in California and Portland and Seattle for 10, 15 years. And he's been writing about it, very eloquently writing about it. And it's amazing how many people, because you have everybody in academia and everybody on the progressive left and the progressive left politicians, the entire Democratic Party basically going, all we have to do is build more housing. And he's got the videos. These people don't want to go live in a free house. They don't want that.
That's the point. That's the point. That's what a lot of people don't get.
It's like 60 to 70% of them are like, no, I don't want that. They want to be outside doing drugs in public. That's what they want. They've chosen it, and that's what they want.
Makes me think that might be kind of an awesome lifestyle. I've never tried it, but a lot of people are going for it. Maybe I should give it a go.
I mean, it would be better if you like had a shower every day, because then maybe you might, like somebody might be interested in you.
Might be able to get an employer, significant other.
I get interested in Josh whenever he takes a shower.
Okay. So
we ended that one nice. There was a nice clean. It's very professional. I feel like we should have a TV show.
All right. There are a little bit of differences between conservatives and libertarians with school choice, vouchers, and education policy. What's your thoughts on that?
Josh is really being a policy questioner today, isn't he? School choice.
Go ahead.
No, school choice, yes. Vouchers, tax breaks, etc. Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Full backpack funding. Bring the ideas that make the free market work, which is competition, into education, because we're not living in the past. I mean, we have access to every piece of information. You can be a genius from YouTube alone if you really want to. Education can't. We need first principles thinking on education. We need to experiment it out. We need a bunch of different groups trying things. And yeah, some kids will have it'll work out in the end. Backpack funding. Let's do experiments. Let's let a market check it out, because the future, we can't gamble on just doing the same stupid fucking shit that doesn't work.
And I want to shoot down the notion that because you allow other things to exist, that you're attacking public education.
Amen, sister.
Or that vouchers, or that school vouchers are an attack on the public education system or take money away from public schools. That's a lie.
It's flamethrower language.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's almost like there's like a union of teachers somewhere that are like, oh, we want to keep getting a bunch of money for doing not that much work, so maybe we should just say lies so that we can fucking keep that chain of money rolling. Not that people would do that. That's just crazy. I'm talking fucking crazy talk right here.
I mean, there were 23 schools in Baltimore that were not a single. It was either 0 or like 3 students.
I think it was 0.
Out of 20, I think it was 0. 23 were not a single student could read or do math at grade level. That's insane.
Just throw more money at that system. That will make it better. Keep the same system in place, the same carrots and sticks in policy, but throw more money on it. Appears that Mark has now left. He has just left. He does. Honestly, does he just not respect us, Josh?
He doesn't.
I don't think he does. I think it's because we're younger than him, and because
way younger.
And he's talked about our looks. So he's jealous of my looks, and he's jealous of your beard, and he likes to watch you shower. So I think there's like a lot of jealousy. So when we're making good points, he's like, I just can't even be in here because the jealousy is just flooding over me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to walk right away. But he'll probably be back.
He was putting the dog away because she was whining.
Okay. All right.
He's back.
I might not even edit that. We'll see.
Scott, you're so hot. Power level 10 on my microwave says Scott.
And edit.
Again with the last names. It's like,
Oh,
why do
I forgot the last name.
why have rules? You're when it comes to this, you're far more libertarian than me because you're just like fuck all the rules. I'll
All
say
right.
do whatever.
Moving on. What's our time at? 25. All right. So
You got time
let's
for
talk
one, two.
about. I got two. Um, Taxation philosophy and government revenue. There's something that there's sales tax, there's the IRS, there's state tax, federal tax, local city tax, municipality tax,
School tax,
school taxes, more
FICA taxes,
home
payroll,
taxes.
property taxes,
When you
taxes,
die, you got to pay taxes.
inheritance taxes,
Yeah, so that's
estate taxes.
death tax.
Yeah.
So, is there any difference between the two groups on that? I think.
Any difference between liberals, or you mean between libertarians and conservatives?
Yeah.
Very little. I mean, I think
maybe just a little bit more regulated versus.
Well, I think libertarians believe in a flat. I think most libertarians believe in a flat tax, like a 10 or 15% flat tax at the federal level, and then they probably believe that there shouldn't be a state tax, and they probably believe that state tax, that sales taxes, etc., should be repealed. As a libertarian conservative, I believe in a modified flat tax. I believe in 4 tax rates. 0, if you're within 180% of the poverty line, you shouldn't be paying any tax. It's stupid to tax somebody $2,000 or $3,000 of their income, push them below the poverty line so they qualify for 7 programs, and then send the money back to them in a different form. That's like getting a blood transfusion and losing a cord on the way. It's stupid, right? So there should be, and in a sense, we already have that, right? But I might raise it to like within 200% of the poverty line, and then and then I think like the lowest tax rate should be like 10 or 15%, and have a middle tax rate of about 20%, and then a top rate of no more than 25, 27%. I don't think the government should ever take more than 1/3 or even a third of what you make. I will die on a hill that says the federal government does not deserve to take a third of what I make. They have to take under a third of what I make.
2 things real quick. Mark, what are you running for? And how can I vote for you? Because I'm fucking sold. And I think everybody that listens to you would. And also, Mark, question for you. My ignorance is showing here. What is the difference between what you said conservatives feel about taxes and what Republicans have, like Republican Congress people, have traditionally voted for or put bills up for? Is there any correlation, or is it just all political bullshit and Republicans don't care about lowering taxes or keeping it what you just said?
I'll take a stab at this one because I think Republicans have to go along to get along, right? They can't really make broad sweeping changes without some buy-in from the liberalism, right?
There's some buy-in from the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because there's no supermajority. Interestingly, the Democrats have had supermajorities in Congress in my lifetime, and Republicans have never had a supermajority in both houses. When I was a kid, Democrats had a supermajority in the House and the Senate, right? And it wasn't until the Reagan election of 1980 where we won control. I say we. The Republicans won control of the Senate for the first time in decades, and then later on, I think they won control of the House in, I think it was 1994, halfway through Bill Clinton's first term, right? The Gingrich
contract with America,
etc., where they won a majority. But like the Reagan economic program needed 60 or a little over, like 62 Democratic votes in the House to pass, which it did. But is there a big difference? There's not a huge difference between what I described and what I think most Republicans believe in, which is, something resembling a modified flat tax.
What's the difference
with no
between
more than a third, but only for
A
the
flat
ultra
tax
wealthy.
is one flat rate that everybody pays, 15%.
a modified is based upon
It
salary
means
brackets?
that a modified flat tax is 2 or 3 or 4 tax rates, yes, based on income.
Okay.
But then what is the U.S. government's budget right now? How much of that is going to cut? Where would it come from? Does it just come down to okay? I won't even bring it up right now. Pass. Sorry, it'll take too long. We're at 31 minutes, and Josh wants to ask his last question, so never mind.
I can pass on this question if you want to finish your thought.
No, I honestly don't, because I want it to be a whole ass thing we talk about sometime.
Okay. So the last one, I'm struggling with this one. There's two that I really want to, and they kind of go hand in hand.
Just go for it, man. Just go for it. Just tell us, say them both. 31 minutes. We've
Social,
run way longer than this before.
okay, social safety nets versus personal responsibility, and criminal justice reform versus incarceration policies. They kind of work together a little bit, but
Thank you, Professor.
Last names again. This motherfucker, dude. I'm sorry. Can you just repeat everything, and then just so we can just go, and
let's
then we'll
just
just
do
rip.
social safety nets and personal responsibility. We have the New Deal, FDR. Talk about social safety nets.
Social safety nets and personal responsibility. If you're an able-bodied adult and you need social safety nets, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that after 2 years, if you haven't got your shit together, you don't get whatever it is we're giving you. Right? If you're an able-bodied single person with no medical problems, no mental problems, right?
Let me agree, but
Okay.
also I'll say Social Security is a social safety net.
Social Security is a retirement program.
No,
Yes, it is.
it's a safety net.
No, SSDI is a safety net.
What is SSDI?
SSDI is Social Security for it's a supplemental income for people who are on welfare, or excuse me, it's for people who are disabled. That's the safety net part.
And it's a whole ass thing on your tax form too. It's got its own line.
Social Security is an old age retirement program. Do you know who invented Social Security, by the way? Interestingly, and people don't know this, they're saying, well, you don't like socialism. We have Social Security. Social Security was invented by Bismarck. Social Security
Otto von Bismarck?
Yes, correct. A conservative German monarch. It was a insurance program that a government insurance program for old people when they couldn't work anymore.
In principle, it seems like a good idea, though, does it not?
Well, I mean, it is a good idea. Yeah, well, now we're really getting into the weeds whether Social Security is a good idea or not. I mean, Social Security has so many problems and needs so much reform and it's been so mismanaged by the government, and in many ways it's a Ponzi scheme. And depending on the demographics of the country, right, it throws the whole thing out of whack. What happens when there's not nearly as many people in the workforce paying into it, and there's way more people who are retired that
you obviously need more people in the workforce, and the demographics are changing. We're not having enough babies, so it's going to have to go away. I'm just saying the principle, the idea of collectively we all put money into making sure old people can live comfortably isn't a bad idea. No, but let's reform the shit out of it. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
When are you going to have a baby and help us with Social Security?
Not going to. So, yeah, I guess I'm contributing to the problem. But, okay, the question was, how much should the government try to take care of people versus personal responsibility. It's an issue by issue basis. And when we have, I mean, human beings lean towards corruption. Corruption's normal, right? Which means waste. Corruption equals waste. So, I mean, if we can keep our shit clean as much as possible, that's why I love the idea of Doge, although in practice, it fucking, come on, man. Elon, are you really going to try to play to Twitter? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to try to play to tweets? Are you going to just play with our fucking entire government so you can play games online? Bitch, we've got people that have been devoting their entire lives to cutting down government savings. And Doge has this great idea and you just fucking failed, man. Like, I'm sorry, this is what happened. It was such a good opportunity and you fucked it up. But we want to have nice things, but libertarians, you know what? We're used to that we can't have nice things. We can't have nice things, right?
The Gummy's starting to kick in, isn't it?
Oh, am I wrong, though?
A little bit.
How so?
He saved a lot of money. I don't think it failed.
$160 billion.
Okay. He did save a lot of money, but he said he was going to save $2 trillion. I viewed it as and it put such a bad taste in people's mouths for the whole Doge thing because of playing to half of the audience. And that's just a dumb way to go about things.
I don't think anybody promised, I don't think anybody with the Doge team or Elon Musk said that within 100 days or within 200 days, we're going to come up with $2 trillion.
Yeah, but he talked the selling it game. He was trying to play like he was Trump on a TV show. He was. That's the impression I got. It's the impression a lot of people got. You might be right in the weeds. I'll always default to you because you pay way more attention to the stuff than me. But the vibe people got wasn't what he delivered. I don't think he pissed a lot of people off.
I'll concede that that they may have that in a sense they may have overpromised that out of their exhilaration and enthusiasm for the project they were going to tackle, that they may have overstepped with some of their.
Wait, so sorry to interrupt. What's more important, the money that they saved or the impression they made on the general public of how important saving money is in the future, right? Because it was this is all executive shit, right? This isn't Congress voting shit that's going to stay, right? So it can just be overturned when another president is elected, right? And all the shit that Elon did can be overturned.
That's a very smart point, Scott. That's a very, very, very.
So you really have to make the fucking point. You have to sell people so that congressmen can vote on this shit and realize they'll get to stay in fucking office because they'll make the constituents happy. That's what Democratic Republic is, right? And he did not add towards that goal because he didn't see that's what the goal was because he's a political fucking sophomore. He's a guy that read fucking Milton Friedman or fucking Ayn Rand as a college sophomore. He's like, hey guys, I got it all fucking figured out. Right? But because he's a fucking genius in so many other ways, everyone's like, all right, cool, run with it. But he didn't defer to the experts. And so he just did his shit online and he did his fucking tweets and it made people think negatively of the program. It was a failure in the public relations sphere. And that was the main goal. I rest my case, Your Honor.
I think he's got a good point.
I want to marry you, Scott.
And with that, we're done.
No, that was really solid.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up so we can talk about the wedding again.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Like and subscribe.